It's actually difficult to know what's going on. Clearly, the releases are significant. It's been upgraded from a 5. The French think it's about a 6, which makes it worse than 3 Mile Island. So there does seem to be some real and significant problems there. What seems to be more important on our behalf, because there's nothing we can do about Japan, is what it means for the UK and for nuclear build in general. We have to remember that the UK, if we go for a like-to-like rebuild of all our nuclear plant, will only be providing 4% of our total energy and dealing with only 4% of our total CO2. Because in terms of climate change, that's a real consideration. Now remember, in terms of climate change, what we will be seeing relatively soon is higher sea level rise, storm surge and floods. And it's interesting to note that nuclear power plants are located precisely at these kinds of locations. The Institute of Mechanical Engineers says that Sizewell, which is our biggest plant, will eventually have to be abandoned. Sizewell is booked for a new reactor. Oldbury is also booked for a new reactor, and Oldbury in the mid-2000s was actually literally cut off by floodwater. So there's some real issues here.
Well, yes, but to what extent should what's happening in Japan at the Fukushima plant inform our decision about nuclear power stations here? I mean, there are very different conditions in Japan, not least the fact that this plant was built in an earthquake zone.
Certainly, it's a real problem. It's also a real problem that 100 of the 300 planned nuclear reactors internationally are also planned for the same seismic earthquake zone. I suppose the point about a lot of this is how do we deal with unforeseen problems? When things go wrong with nuclear, they go wrong very, very badly. And there's a sort of a myth that we can't do it otherwise. The reality is that in Germany installed every year up to a reactor's worth of wind plant, offshore wind plant every year. In 2009 alone, it installed 4 reactors worth of solar. So the problem here is, do we actually need nuclear? Now, I understand that the government has asked for a review of this, and HSC Mike Whiteman is looking into this. But this doesn't quite seem to go far enough. What we need is greater openness, greater transparency, and for the government to run this, or if not, to have a full public inquiry that lets in the kinds of voices that so far haven't been included.
Paul Dorfman, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on Sky News.
Thank you.